Today's expedition brings us to Caloosahatchee Regional Park. Did talk to a worker that was here. She said it's a couple sections that are pretty muddy, nothing that you can't cross though, so we'll see what we can get into. Supposedly there's a good river overlook over here as well, so we're gonna see if we can find that. Let's just get right into it. Couple interesting facts about the park itself. It's close to 765 acres. River frontage for some of it, not all of it. The resting areas. It's kind of a mixture between packed dirt, grass, boardwalk on some areas, but those are just basically those little piers that you see throughout. A little bit of mud here and there. Dock. Oh, I don't know if you can see them. Look at all those little fish. Thousands. Oh, I do like these cypress roots. I don't really know. They're little. These are little tiny cypress trees. It'd be nice if there was some sort of a trail marker hit. It splits. Almost walked right into this guy. He's going right across the path here. I don't know if you could hear it. I wouldn't call this necessarily completely isolated. Quite a bit of traffic noise. Keep in mind, right across the river is a pretty busy highway. Palm Beach Boulevard. Pretty busy. Here I am at another junction with no markings. There's no designations. I don't know. So, kind of confusing there, I'll be honest. couple other quick facts. Park is located in Alva, Florida, North River Road. These are pretty cool. I see a bunch of these dead ones on the ground here. I'm not entirely sure what plant this is, but it climbs up this tree, starts some of those big flowers, and then they go all the way up. This big oak tree here, those flowers are really pretty though. That's the air plant. I'm not too familiar with that law, but I think if they're on the ground, they're legal to harvest. But if they're in the trees, they're illegal to touch or harvest. I'm not really sure. So in the name of transparency here, I really don't even know where I'm at, because I did take that turn at that unmarked location. And I mean, I have self-service, so I can look it up. But then again, here, at another crossing with no markers. I have not heard or seen quite as much wildlife here as I did over at Telegraph Creek. I'm seeing a lot more waterfowl here, which would make sense since I'm so close to the water. Now there is potential to see all kinds of different stuff. Deer, gopher tortoises, bobcats, you'll rarely see them. Snakes, obviously, butterflies, birds. There's a couple river otter, supposedly people have said online. And I've never seen one personally, but there is potential to see them. So as you can hear though, this park does run adjacent to North River Road. So you do get a little more traffic noise because the actual trail system runs right along the road, which is kind of weird. I guess you take the good with the bad. It looks like we're coming up on a little bit more of the pine flatwoods. I see a lot more pine trees coming up. A little bit change of scenery from the oak hammock we were just kind of walking through and the oak scrubs we were just walking through. Very confusing on the trail system here. I have a fork left and right. No indication of what trail it is or where it goes. After looking at the map, there is a way that I can go around and lead me back to the river. So I decided to go left. This is all gonna be part of the pine diversity here. There's multiple different biomes, I guess, it sounds like Minecraft. Anyways, you have, your oak hammocks, the river frontage, and you get some of this pine flatwoods. But some of this jungle is just so dense. Thick palms that are real tight. Unless you had a machete or something, you wouldn't be able to walk more than a couple feet. Less shade out here, so that's kind of something to keep in mind. I guess I found kind of a recurring theme, unfortunately. We're at another fork in the road. Still no markers. That would be my only complaint here. These are nice, well-maintained trails. Some of these pines are so massive. You can see though, the further we get away from the river, the less shade, less tree coverage. Little bunny. Hey, buddy. It's all Palmetto Loop Trail. I'm not gonna go that way right now because I wanted to see this other section of the river frontage. This is just an open prairie that runs along North River Road. I mean, if you drive down North River Road, you can see it. So, there's cars right there. I don't necessarily care for that loop. Nice little creek running through here. That's pretty cool. Water. No horses that way. Wait a minute. No horses. Horses. I don't know. Seems a little fishy to me. I'm gonna go this way though. Nice little fishing spot. Pretty cool. Watch the boats go by. This guy comes flying through here. Look at that guy. Water skiing. Yeah, buddy. Wipe out. yeah, this is a good little spot to take a little rest. So far, I've covered about 2 miles. A little confusing in some of these sections. If you're inexperienced, it might be a little overwhelming to be lost in the woods, but like, you're sandwiched between North River Road and the river, so you really can't be that lost in the woods, you know? Eventually, you're gonna find your way back to the road or find the river, and that should be enough of a bearing point to know where you're at. Plus, I've never lost cell service out here yet, so you're always gonna be able to connect to your GPS, at least for me. Now, the lack of trail markers is kind of concerning. There should be a little bit more clarity on what trail you're on, what direction you're going. Hey, this is this loop or that loop. I'd say that that's kind of a negative here. Also, it never really feels like you're disconnected from society. The pros for the park, when you get to the trailhead or the parking lot, they do have a bathroom, men and women, and then a water fountain. I bring my own water just to be safe. Very well maintained trails, not very much overgrowth at all. Wildlife, mediocre, I'd say. You know, I didn't hear nearly as much out here as I did over there at Telegraph Creek. That is spider maybe? Big, giant sailboat. That thing looks awesome. That's like an old school sailboat there. These cypress trees with all the Spanish moss on it, I love them. When I think Florida swamps, this is what I think. But what I'm gonna do is turn back around and go to the yellow maintained path. This doesn't seem to be maintained, so keep that in mind if you guys ever end up coming here. The one where it's completely riverfront might look like a path, but it kind of ends at a certain point. I'm not gonna end up bushwhacking through that stuff, you know? Here we are, back at the yellow. We're gonna go this way. Just see what she has to offer through here. Looks like something was living in there. A mushroom too? Some of these trees look hairy. Then you look closer and you realize just covered in airplanes. That's awesome. Found another fuzzy tree. Look at that fuzzy boy. Buzz Bert. So we're back at the junction that we were at this morning. We ended up meeting back up with the trail coming from this direction. 3 out of the 4 directions are explored. Let's go see what's around this corner. So here we are back at the trailhead, parking lot, whatever you want to call it. I will say this was my mistake this morning, as I didn't go this direction, whereas I should have. All right, so there we have it, Caloosahatchee Regional Park. On screen here, you're gonna see my expedition log. So let's put that into the logbook. You know, this is definitely a family-friendly park. Definitely sections out here that are stroller accessible. I'd say there are portions that are and some that aren't. Probably best to be safe that your kids could walk for the most part. Amenity-wise, there is amenities here in the parking areas, bathrooms, water fountains. Past that point though, there's not much else out here. Mostly shaded, One Pine Flatwoods area that's not really shaded out that direction. Lots of river access all throughout the whole stretch where the shoreline loop is. A few different docks where you can actually fish, prairie, open grassland, whatever you would call that there. Here in the parking lot, there are several grills with several pavilions, so that's nice if you were coming out here to have a picnic or if you had a party that you wanted to do. Parking wise, all day parking, $5. Can't really beat that. I mentioned other sections of the park include a camping area and canoe and kayak launch. Overall, the park took me 2.5 hours, and that's with filming, so I could spend all day here, realistically. So that was Caloosahatchee Regional. Until next time, keep exploring what's around that next corner. Watch where you're going, kid.
Daddy,
Yeah?
I found 3 flowers.
You did?
Look over there. Go past it.
Those are really pretty flowers.
Come here. Go take a picture.
You're gonna take a picture of those pretty flowers?